Friends, unfortunately yesterday here in the large Lego box that is the Spin Dad Shed, we unfortunately suffered a casualty. A casualty to a relatively critical part of the Trasher Bash build. I just wanted to pull the axle out of this hub so I could take the free hub body off, have a look at it, make sure the free hub body that I was going to buy to replace this campy one was going to work, but it broke the axle instead. Dang it! These things happen, but makes for a very good segue into today's topic of choice through the post I made in the community tab. I said, hey, throw some topics, some ideas in the comments below. I'll do my best to vlog about them for the month of February as a creative challenge for me, Eric. And currently 2 out of the 60 comments on that community post are asking for a little insight on what it was like to work in a shop. And spoiler alert, why I kind of hated it. First, to be fair, I'm gonna start with the pros. What was good about it? Because when I think about it, like there was a lot. There's a lot to take away from it that are really, really great experiences and knowledge to take away from spending time in a bike shop, wrenching, and just being around a new onslaught of bikes all the time. I haven't worked in a bike shop in, I think, 5 years. And in the time that I was working at a shop, if you asked me about anything new that came out or how to tune pretty much anything, I knew how. I think it's pretty important to acknowledge that I got early exposure to everything new when building new bikes coming out of the box. Like when the new bikes came in for the new year, there was always the new drivetrains, the new whatever, and I got to actually tinker with it right then and there and learn how to tune, work with, make sure that it was all running perfectly before it went up onto the showroom floor. That experience is invaluable when a bike comes in for like a tune-up later or whatever, if it needs a repair or if I'm installing that drivetrain for the first time ever. And I think I forget about that from time to time, but when I was putting the Trek together, the Just Us Trek, and I put that Dior 11 speed on, the tuning for the rear derailleur is like not what I was used to. Like I got used to SRAM Eagle, like there's a tool for that, but I had never done the new Shimano stuff. And when I first put it together, I was like, oh, this is not working that good. I had to look it up. When I was working at a shop, I would have known that already. Like that information would have been like, the day that came out, I would have known. Like I make YouTube videos and a lot of them are about bikes, but I'm not in the industry anymore. There's bottom brackets, there's stuff that I've never seen yet. I don't know nothing about it. Also, the shop I worked at, it had been around for like 10, 15 years before I ever got involved. And they specialized when they started on just putting together used bikes and selling them. Like that's what they did. It was originally out of the guy's house, and then he moved to a shop on Gottingen Street, and then he moved it to Barrington Street. They only did used bikes, and they had to deal with all sorts of different standards and different things. So tools were unlimited. If something rolled into the shop that you had never seen before, you could guarantee that the proper tool was somewhere in there to deal with it. That was cool. I kind of miss that. Because in here, this is my home shop, there are lots of tools that I don't have. And I can't even there's certain things I can't even think of that I would want until the thing pops up that you need it. What am I looking for? It is. The Danny Prather provided group set. Further to that shop being around forever, generally dealing with used bikes and constantly putting things together, the parts bins were so good. The plethora of parts there was just, and that was pretty cool. The really cool part about working downtown is the food was amazing. 2, the coffee so good. I very much miss frequenting Weird Harbor. And 3, all my friends were downtown. Definitely miss them. It's kind of hard to not miss the commute as well. That was like a good excuse to get on a bike every day, no matter the weather. Even in weather like this, I rode every day. Because of course, I couldn't afford to pay for parking. I worked at a bike shop. That's kind of where the cons and the negatives really start to take over the pros. Working at a shop, especially a small shop that doesn't do a lot of revenue, doesn't sell a lot of bikes, doesn't have a lot of traffic coming in, well, the pay can't be good. I understand that, I understood that, but it definitely makes life kind of tough. Especially If you had ever noticed watching old videos of mine, I was kind of the only person that worked there. I worked there 6 days a week, 8 hours a day, 6 days a week, every week. It could be kind of lonely. There would actually sometimes be days where I would just not see another human being, which is really like super tough for me. I'm so social. I friggin' love people. I think my least favorite thing, like the biggest con for being equipped with all this firsthand knowledge, all of this experience in a shop setting, is people have their defense up. They have a question, you know the answer, but because you're in a shop and there will be money exchanged, like they don't want to believe you. Make it seem like you're just out to get their money. Yeah, your chain is super worn, and when you wear out a chain like that, it'll wear out your cassette, and sometimes your chain, okay, I think we should just put a chain up. Then it'll skip and it'll wear the chain out really fast, and you'll have to do it all over again. So you may as well just do it all at once. And having that conversation 3, 4, 5 times a day, over and over and over again, with a new face every single time, is easily the most tiring, annoying thing to have to do constantly. If ever you're wondering why when you go into a shop, some of the people working there are kind of cantankerous and a little bit like standoffish, it's stuff like that. That's half the reason why. And the problem with that is, like I said, I am an incredibly positive, social person, human-loving person. And when I start getting like that, it really eats away inside of me. I'm like, I don't want, when the door opens for me, to be upset that there's a human in here, because I know it's going to be a negative interaction. I am an incredibly confident person. I believe in myself maybe more than others believe in themselves, but when someone decides to challenge something that I know, it falls apart pretty quick. So there's been countless times where, beyond my better judgment, I've let a customer in defense mode get me to do something that I knew wasn't a good idea or wasn't going to work because of the state of whatever it is that they had was in. And even in those instances where the outcome of the circumstance that I described to them that would happen, happens, they're still fighting me on. I had a gentleman come into the store with a bike that he found it in his garage or something. I want to do a couple things to this to make it rideable for my daughter. No problem. Let me have a look at it. We'll see what it needs. It would have needed tires. I'm like, well, you're gonna need tires for sure, but the rim of your tire is relatively worn out. It should probably at least get a rear wheel. It's not gonna be like safe to ride. Now, those of you who know anything about bikes, which should be every single one of you watching, know that rim brakes wear away at the material in the rim brake area. That is the sidewall of the wheel. That is a structural part of the bike. So yes, why does it need a wheel? I'm like, well, the sidewall of the wheel is getting a little bit thin from all the braking that's happened on this bike's life, and it's thin. So when you put tire pressure into it, it could blow the sidewall of the wheel out. He goes, well, she's not gonna ride it very much. It's probably not gonna be a problem. Let's just do the tires. Now, this is probably where a lot of you are thinking, well, just don't do it, Eric. Like, just don't do it. But like I said, I'm confident in all of my knowledge and everything I'm able to do. The minute I'm challenged, I crumble. I'm a very agreeable person. I don't really like to stand up for myself. No problem, sir, we'll throw a tire on there for you. So I'm there, I do a bunch of work to the bike, I go to put the new tire on, start pumping it up. Buddy's standing right there from pumping it up. Sidewall of the wheel explodes out into my leg. Ow! And you know what he said? He didn't say, are you okay? He said, why did you do that? Now, don't get me started on the awkwardness that is trying to explain to someone you're either A, using your bike wrong, or B, you probably put it in your car the wrong way, and that's actually what ruined it, not the last visit that you had here that you're trying to blame on me currently. The amount of times that I've seen customers take newly tuned or even brand new bikes to the back of their car, SUV, truck, and just toss it in, drive side down, only to come back a couple days later to say this thing shifts like garbage. It took me making the mistake of not telling customers to not throw their bikes in drive side down like 3 or 4 times when I realized what was happening. It's a lot easier to tell people that a problem could happen if you do this than it is to say you caused the problem by doing this. And being the only person there dealing with all the negative and all the repairs and everything every single day, Well, it can be wearing, even if the negatives truly are far and few between. When I really think about it, there wasn't as many as I'm making it out to be right now, but are you familiar with the 1,000 to 1 theory? It's something I just made up, but it's for every 1,000 positive interactions, 1 negative negates all of the positives. And when you don't have a support system in place to help you get through that, an unnecessary negative interaction with a customer could happen, and I could literally stew with it for an entire day and not see any other human beings. Just have a lineup of bikes that need work done to it and no one to even talk to about, like, you know, this stupid thing that wasn't my fault, that, I don't know, some customer didn't know how to use a triple ring, and yeah, that's where the noise is coming from. You just don't know how to ride the bike properly. That sucked. I think it takes a pretty special person to be able to solely work in a service style industry, definitely know your own worth, and like full of fight enough to buck heads with those of you that are constantly trying to bring you down for their own self-benefit. And I think that was what was kind of constantly happening to me as the mechanic, sales guy, manager really, of a bike shop that wasn't mine. So for me to give myself advice, if I was ever to do this again, I would need to be just like one of the factors in a shop. Either playing wrench in a hidden area of the shop where there's like a service desk that people have to talk to someone else at, or just be a person on the floor helping people with whatever they want. I feel like it just kind of takes a lot of the responsibility off of just one person trying to do it all. That was my experience anyway. This is as far as I can go with the Trasher Bash build today. See you tomorrow.